Towns, free, another one! Towns in the way. Spins, leans, fires, caught.
No sweep for the Dallas Mavericks as the Minnesota Timberwolves survive and force a Game 5. The duo of Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns actually looked like a duo this time. In Games 1 and 2, the Minnesota Stars were simply not performing. And in Game 3, we saw Anthony Edwards have by far his best game of the series, but Cat was nowhere to be found. However, Game 4 was a different story. The Timberwolves stars stepped up in desperation, combining for 54 points on 53% from the field and 60% from 3. All series long, Luka and Kyrie have been the owners of the fourth quarter, closing every single game out, but this time Minnesota actually executed a lot better in the clutch. Here, the Mavericks appear to be in a 2-1-2 zone. Ant tells Rudy to clear out, forcing Luka to drop and cover. Now on the backside, Kyrie is stuck nearly having to guard 3 guys. As Ant drives, Kyle Anderson sets an off-ball flare screen for Cat in the corner for a wide open 3. Again, here's Ant with the ball. Kyle goes to set an off-ball screen for Cat, and right here, Luka makes a mistake dropping way too far down, leaving PJ stranded in basically a 1v2 situation. It's the same mistake that Gobert continues to make when he plays in drop coverage. Just because the screener may not be a threat from the outside doesn't mean dropping is the best defense. All game long, the Wolves were able to feast on this drop coverage the same way Luka and Kyrie feasted in games 1 through 3. Minnesota turned a non-shooting threat like Kyle Anderson into a screener, allowing Anthony Edwards to play downhill. Here, Kyle goes to screen Ant. Luka is sitting all the way down in drop, leading to a wide open jumper. Ant was taking advantage of everything the Mavs were giving him. However, Kyrie and Luka struggled to take advantage of the Minnesota defense pretty much all game, combining for just 44 points on 33% from the field and 29% from 3. Definitely not the Luka and Kyrie we're used to seeing. Defensively, the Minnesota forwards did a great job contesting Luka. Here, Jaden sticks right with Luka and forces him into a tough contested fadeaway. Again, Jaden stays right with Luka and contests yet another fadeaway. And this time, Kyle Anderson sticks with Luka and forces a last-second fadeaway 3. The individual defense from the Timberwolves was great, but the subpar performances from the Dallas backcourt wasn't just because of the defense. It looked more like Luka and Kyrie were just not hitting the shots they usually do. Like here, Kleba sets a screen for Luka. Ant decides to go under the screen, giving Luka a wide open 3, but he just misses it. And as far as Kyrie goes, he didn't look like closeout Kyrie. I mean, in this play, Kyrie gets open going downhill. Right here is typically the 2v1 situation that leads to either a lob to Gafford or Kyrie hitting a pull-up jumper, floater type shot. But instead of taking advantage of the 2v1 and the easy shot, he drives deeper in the paint into 3 defenders and gets stripped. I don't understand why he didn't just take the open shot. And multiple times Kyrie could not hit shots while Gobert was backing up. Here's Kyrie coming off a screen from Gafford. As Gobert is dropping, Kyrie stops for a pull-up 3 and can't hit it. Again, Kyrie attacking with Gobert recovering, Kyrie pulls up and misses. But the struggles of Luka and Kyrie was only the start of Dallas's problems in this game. Derek Lively, who exited Game 3 with a neck sprain, was not available to play, and it definitely made a difference. Without Derek Lively to stand in as a lob threat down low, the Timberwolves defense was able to collapse on Kyrie and Luka a lot easier. Here's Kyrie with the ball. He gets past Kyle Anderson, and this moment right here is usually a 2v1 with Kyrie and Lively, typically ending in a lob. But since Kleba is in Lively's spot, Kyrie doesn't have an option to throw the lob, as Kleba is not a lob threat. Kyrie is forced to get a shot up over a defender that's already there waiting for him. The advantage Kleba has over Lively is his shooting ability, but when he's not using it, it looks more like an advantage for Minnesota. Here, Derrick Jones Jr. sets a screen on Gobert, forcing Conley to pick up Luka, and Rudy drops with DJJ. With 2 on Luka, Kleba is wide open for a 3, and yet he doesn't shoot it. The offense created an open shot, and Kleba did not take it, forcing Luka to take a contested step back instead, and another great defensive stop from Minnesota. The Timberwolves shot a collective 53% from the field and 46% from 3. A very efficient night for Minnesota. Starting with Karl-Anthony Towns, he had multiple drives creating offense for himself. Here, Cat comes up off a down screen from Gobert. Cat curls the screen, giving him a step ahead of PJ, leading to a 2v1 with Rudy. Again, down screen from Rudy. Cat curls the screen into a 2v1 for another layup. As I said in my last video, the Timberwolves needed their role players to contribute, and they all answered the call in Game 4. The power of desperation and a do-or-die situation woke them up, leading to 5 out of 8 Timberwolves shooting 50% or higher from the field, something that the Mavericks were not able to do. PJ Washington, who was huge in the Thunder series, really hasn't found his footing against the Timberwolves, and Game 4 was no different. It's one thing for both of your stars to struggle, but for your third leading scorer to shoot poorly as well, winning the game is significantly more difficult. Unlike Game 3, the Timberwolves came out playing aggressive defense, holding the Mavericks to just 20 points in the first quarter. They came out of the gate strong and showed that they were not going down without a fight. However, the game started to even out during the second and third quarters, but the fourth quarter, like in all of the previous games, was the difference maker. Karl-Anthony Towns caught fire down the stretch, continuing to provide offense alongside Anthony Edwards, something they could not do in games 1 through 3. It almost looked like a complete flip of Game 3. Luka and Kyrie struggle while Ant and Cat flourish. The Mavericks lead is now 3-1, and they are still just one win away from the NBA Finals, but they are now down one game to let go of. The upside for the Mavericks is that they really didn't shoot well at all in this game, and they also were without one of their most impactful players in Derek Lively. And as I said earlier, Luka and Kyrie basically didn't show up scoring-wise, and that was the biggest difference. The Minnesota duo outplayed the Dallas duo, ultimately leading to a win for the Timberwolves. Something to note for Minnesota, however, is their size really wasn't much of a factor, even with Lively being out because the bigs were stuck in foul trouble. But the foul trouble wasn't because they were getting unlucky with the refs, it was because they were voluntarily committing ridiculously stupid fouls for absolutely no reason. A game where Lively was not playing was the perfect opportunity for the Timberwolves to use their size, and they didn't. But luckily for them, they still secured the win. Now the series shifts to Game 5. The Mavericks struggled all night. Luka and Kyrie looked honestly the worst they've been so far in this series, but a bounce back game is definitely coming. And for the Timberwolves, Cat may have found his rhythm with the 3-ball, but with Derek Lively potentially being able to play, the Mavericks offense may look significantly different. But despite everything else, the stars have to be stars. Luka and Kyrie or Ant and Cat cannot expect to not show up and still get a win. It's another closeout game for the formerly undefeated Kyrie Irving, so we will see if his closeout game record continues to get worse or if he stops the bleeding. But what did you guys think about Game 4? Will the Mavericks complete the gentleman's sweep in Minnesota, or will the Timberwolves force a Game 6 in Dallas? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.